The stars shimmered above the vast colony of New Terra as Sam walked along the empty road leading to the research center. She worked as a scientist studying life forms from other planets. Her specialty was understanding how aliens communicated and their cultures. The colony was still young, only 5 years old, with just 1,000 humans trying to make this distant world their home. Most of the planet remained unexplored, wild and full of mystery. Sam had shoulder-length brown hair and bright, green eyes that seemed to notice everything around her. She wore the standard colony uniform, light gray with blue trim indicating her science division status. She carried a small bag of food she had prepared earlier, a simple meal of breadfruit, and some meat she often ate alone during her lunch break, preferring the quiet of her laboratory to the noise of the cafeterias. She approached the entrance of the research facility. She noticed something moving in the shadows near the tall grass that bordered the road. Some froze her heart beating fast. She knew there were unknown creatures on this planet, some possibly dangerous. The shadow moved again, and Sam could make out a figure much taller than a human, at least 7 feet, with slender limbs and a slightly larger head. Then the figure stepped forward into the light. It was a woman, but not human. Her skin had a pale blue tint and her eyes were large and completely black without pupils. She had no hair, but instead a pattern of small ridges along her skull. She wore what looked like woven material in shades of green and brown. Sam gasped. The alien research team had encountered this species before, but from a distance, they called them the Varia, and knew almost nothing about them. The colony leaders had strict orders not to engage with any intelligent species until proper first contact protocols could be established. But here one was right in front of her. The alien woman made a soft clicking sound with her mouth and held up empty hands in what seemed like a universal gesture of peace. Sam noticed how thin the alien looked, her clothes hanging loosely on her frame. She remembered reading that the Varia were believed to be nomadic, following food sources across the vast plains. The alien woman pointed to her mouth, then to the ground, and made the clicking sound again. Sam understood immediately the woman was hungry. Maybe even starving, protocol said. Sam should alert security immediately and not interact. But the woman looked desperate. Sam knew what hunger looked like in any species. Sam slowly opened her bag and took out the food she had prepared. The alien woman watched cautiously, her large black eyes fixed on the food. Sam placed the breadfruit and meat on a small cloth and set it down, then stepped back. The alien approached carefully, knelt down and examined the offerings. She picked up a piece of fruit, sniffed it, and then took a small bite. Her eyes widened and she quickly ate the rest of the fruit, then moved on to the bread and meat, eating everything with growing enthusiasm. Sam smiled, watching as the alien woman ate every last crumb. When she finished, she looked up at Sam. Her eyes seemed to shimmer with moisture. Sam gave the alien woman her food, which moved her to tears. The alien made a new sound, a soft humming that rose and fell in pitch, then reached into a pouch at her side and pulled out a small object. It looked like a crystal that glowed with a soft blue light. She held it out to Sam. Sam hesitated, but then slowly accepted the gift. The crystal felt warm in her hand, and the blue light pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. The alien woman stood and placed her hand over her chest, then extended it toward Sam. A gesture of thanks, perhaps, or something more. Sam mimicked the gesture, and the alien woman made a sound that might have been laughter. Then suddenly they both froze as the sound of voices approached from the research center. The alien woman looked toward the sound, then back at Sam. Their eyes met in understanding. Without a word, the alien turned and with surprising speed disappeared back into the tall grass, just as 2 security officers rounded the corner. Lily and Peter, members of the colony security team, approached Sam with curious expressions. "Did you see something out here?" Lily asked, her hand resting on her stunner. Sam thought quickly about what to say. If she reported the encounter, the security team would search for the alien woman, and if they found her, who knew what would happen? "Oh, just taking a break before heading in," Sam said casually. Hiding the crystal in her pocket, Lily narrowed her eyes. Not entirely convinced, Sam knew her friend was perceptive. Anything unusual to report, Lily pressed. Watching Sam carefully, Sam shook her head, trying to appear calm. "Nothing out of the ordinary," she replied. Peter, less observant than Lily, was already looking elsewhere, seeming bored with the conversation. "Come on, Lily. We still have the perimeter too. Check, he said. Lily gave Sam one last searching look but then nodded and continued on patrol with Peter. Sam waited until they were out of sight before letting out a long breath. Her fingers wrapped tightly around the crystal in her pocket. That night, Sam sat in her small colony home examining the crystal. It continued to glow, casting soft blue light across her room when she held it. The crystal seemed to respond, the light pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeats. Sam knew she had broken protocol, but something about the encounter felt important. The alien woman had been hungry and Sam had helped her. It was that simple. Yet it felt like the beginning of something significant. The next day, Sam returned to the same spot carrying more food. She waited for hours, but the alien woman did not appear. Sam felt disappointed but not surprised. The Varia were known to move quickly across great distances. A week passed and Sam had almost given up hope of seeing the alien woman again. Her work at the lab continued as normal, studying samples and running tests, but her mind often wandered to the encounter and to the crystal, which she kept hidden in her quarters. Kate, her lab partner, noticed her distraction but didn't press for details. They had worked together for 3 years and respected each other's privacy. "Are you feeling all right?" Kate asked one afternoon. "You seem a million miles away, just tired." Sam replied with a small smile. "Too many late nights analyzing those soil samples." Kate nodded, accepting the excuse, though Sam could tell she wasn't entirely convinced. That evening, as Sam walked back to her quarters, the crystal in her pocket suddenly grew warmer. She pulled it out, surprised to see it glowing much brighter than before, pulsing rapidly. Sam looked around the colony. Streets were quiet. Most people already in their homes for the night, following an impulse she didn't fully understand. Sam changed direction, walking toward the edge of the colony where she had first met the alien woman. As she approached the border where colony lights gave way to the darkness of the wild plains, Sam saw a shadow waiting just beyond the last light. Her heart raced as she recognized the tall, slender silhouette of the alien woman. Sam glanced around, making sure no one was watching, then stepped forward. The alien woman made the now familiar gesture, hand to chest, then extended toward Sam. Sam returned the gesture, then held up the crystal. The alien woman nodded and pointed to the crystal, then to her own chest, and finally to the darkness beyond. She wanted Sam to follow her. Sam hesitated, knowing that leaving the colony without authorization, especially at night, was strictly forbidden and potentially dangerous. But curiosity, and something else, a feeling she couldn't name, pulled her forward. Sam looked back at the colony lights, then to the alien figure waiting patiently. Taking a deep breath, she stepped beyond the light perimeter and into the unknown, following the alien woman into the night. The alien woman moved with grace through the tall grass, her long legs easily navigating the difficult terrain. Sam struggled to keep up, occasionally stumbling on the uneven ground. They walked for nearly 2 hours, moving deeper into unexplored territory. Sam knew they must be at least 10 miles from the colony, now farther than any routine patrol ventured. The crystal in Sam's hand grew warmer and brighter with each step they took. Finally, the alien woman stopped at the edge of a small valley hidden between 2 hills. Sam would never have noticed it if not led directly there. The alien gestured for Sam to look. Below in the valley was a small settlement. Unlike anything Sam had seen in the reports from the colony scout drones, dome-shaped structures made of woven material glowed with soft light from within. Around 20 structures in total formed a circle around a central clearing. The alien woman made a soft clicking sound, then started down the path into the valley. Sam followed her heart, pounding with a mixture of fear and excitement as they entered the settlement. Sam felt many eyes on her. Other Varia emerged from the structures, tall and graceful, like the first, some with blue skin, others with green or purple tints, all watching her with those large black eyes. The alien woman who had found Sam made sounds to the others, clicks and soft melodic tones. The others responded, their voices overlapping in what seemed like a discussion. Finally, one stepped forward, older than the others, with deep purple skin and markings along the ridges of her head that glowed faintly in the dim light. She approached Sam without fear and extended both hands. Sam hesitated, then placed her hands in the alien's. The touch was cool and dry, the skin smoother than it looked. The elder Varia placed one of Sam's hands against the crystal. Sam still held and covered it with her own. Immediately, Sam's mind filled with images and sensations, not words, but pure concepts. She understood the Varia had been watching. The human colony, since its founding, they were cautious but curious. They had learned the human language by listening, but preferred their own form of communication. The crystals were their technology, their history, and their means of sharing knowledge. The Varia did not speak as humans did, but communicated through shared sensory experiences stored and transmitted through the crystals. The elder Varia showed Sam images of her people, their history on this planet. They had lived here for thousands of years in harmony with the environment. They were few in number and valued peace above all. Some also saw images of other human colonies on distant planets. Some where humans and local species lived in harmony. Others where conflict had led to destruction, when the connection ended. Sam stepped back, overwhelmed by the experience. The elder made the gesture, hand to chest, then extended. Sam understood now it meant acceptance, or perhaps welcome. The alien woman who had brought Sam here led her to one of the dome structures. Inside it was simple but beautiful plant fibers woven into intricate patterns formed the walls and ceiling. A soft light came from crystals placed around the rooms. Sam was given water in a carved wooden cup and something like bread. Made from local plants, the food was strange but not unpleasant. The Varia came to meet her, each touching the crystal briefly to share something of themselves, a memory, an emotion, a piece of knowledge. With each exchange, Sam felt less like a stranger. Through these exchanges, Sam learned more. The Varia were deeply connected to the planet. They called it Mara, which meant mother in their concept language. The crystals grew deep underground where the planet's energy was strongest. The Varia harvested only what they needed, and always with reverence. The alien woman who had found Sam shared her name, not a sound but a feeling, like the warmth of sunrise. Sam could not pronounce it, but in her mind she called her Dawn. Dawn showed Sam her life through the crystal. She was young for a Varia, only 40 cycles, which Sam understood to be similar to Earth years. She was a scout for her people, watching and learning about the humans. She had been hungry that day because she had given her food to a young animal caught in a trap. Sam in turn shared her own memories through the crystal. Her childhood on Earth, her training as a xenobiologist, her excitement at being selected for the colony mission. Her loneliness since arriving at New Terra. Dawn seemed particularly interested in the concept of loneliness. It was foreign to the Varia, who were always connected through their crystals. As the night deepened, Sam realized she needed to return to the colony before her absence was noticed. Dawn understood. Without words, she led Sam back through the darkness, moving swiftly but carefully. As they approached the colony, Dawn stopped just beyond the reach of the perimeter lights. She took Sam's hands and placed them on the crystal one last time through it. Sam understood Dawn wanted her to return to learn more, to be a bridge between their peoples. Sam nodded and made the gesture, hand to chest, then extended. Dawn responded in kind, then melted back into the darkness. Sam slipped back into the colony. Fortunately, the late hour meant few people were about. She made it to her quarters without being seen. The next morning, Sam went to work as usual, but everything felt different. She carried the secret knowledge of the Varia and the crystal hidden in her pocket. Kate noticed the change in her immediately. "You look different today," Kate said as they worked side by side in the lab. "Happier?" Sam just smiled. "I had a good night's sleep," she replied, but inside her mind was racing with questions and possibilities. What should she do with what she had learned? The colony had strict protocols about first contact with intelligent species, but those protocols assumed hostility, or at least uncertainty. The Varia were peaceful. Sam was certain of that, but would the colony leaders believe her if she told them everything? Would they even let her return to the settlement, or would they quarantine her and send armed scouts instead? Thoughts were interrupted when Director Mason entered the lab, his face serious. Mason was the head of the science division, a tall, stern woman with short gray hair and a reputation for following rules precisely. "Everyone listen up," she announced. "We have an urgent situation. Alien signals have been detected near the north perimeter. All science staff are to report their findings immediately if anyone has encountered anything unusual." Her eyes swept the room, coming to rest on Sam, who felt her heart race. Dr. Howard Mason addressed her directly. "Your specialty is xenobiology. What can you tell us about the local sentient species?" The Variasem hesitated, torn between her duty to the colony and her promise to Dawn. "They are nomadic, peaceful from what we know," she said carefully, keeping her voice steady. Their technology level is difficult to determine, but they seem to avoid conflict. Mason nodded. Has anyone here had direct contact with them? The room fell silent. All eyes now on Sam. No, Mom, Sam said, feeling the weight of the lie but believing it necessary at least until she understood. Morgood, Mason replied, because protocol is clear. No unauthorized contact if they approach the colony. We observe and report nothing more. Nothing less, is that clear? Everyone nodded, dismissed. Mason said, then left the room. Kate gave Sam a curious look. You know something, don't you? She whispered. Sam shook her head. Don't be ridiculous, she replied, but she could tell Kate wasn't convinced that night Sam could not sleep. The crystal pulsed beside her bed, seeming to call to her. Making a decision, she packed a small bag with food, water, and basic supplies, then waited until the colony night cycle was at its midpoint, when most people would be asleep. She slipped out of her quarters and made her way to the perimeter, trying to avoid the regular patrol routes she knew so well. As she approached the north edge of the colony, she saw Dawn waiting as if she had known Sam would come. This time, Sam didn't hesitate. She went directly to the alien woman and made the greeting gesture. Dawn responded, then led Sam once more into the darkness, away from the colony and toward the hidden valley of the Varia. Sam knew she was breaking every rule in the colonial handbook. But something told her this connection was too important to ignore, too vital to both species to be left to official channels. As they walked, Sam felt a weight lift from her shoulders with each step that took her farther from the colony and closer to understanding. When Sam and Dawn arrived at the Varia settlement, the atmosphere had changed. There was a tension in the air that Sam could feel, even without the crystal communication. More Varia were gathered in the central clearing than before, all focused on the elder who stood near a large crystal formation that Sam had not seen during her first visit. Dawn led Sam directly to the gathering, the other Varia parting to let them through. Some looked at Sam with what seemed like concern, others with curiosity. The elder acknowledged Sam with the greeting gesture, then placed her hands on the large crystal, inviting Sam to do the same. When Sam touched the crystal, the flood of images and emotions was overwhelming, far stronger than before. She saw Varia scouts reporting sightings of human drones flying over their territories. She felt the community's fear and uncertainty. She understood they had been debating whether to move their settlement, abandoning their home of many generations. The elder showed Sam something else, a vision of humans and Varia working together, sharing knowledge and resources, living in harmony on this world they now shared. Sam realized the elder was asking for her help to make this vision real, to prevent fear and misunderstanding from leading to conflict. When the connection ended, Sam stepped back, her mind racing. She wanted to help, but she was just one scientist from the colony. What could she do against established protocols and prejudices? The elder seemed to sense her doubt. She gestured to another Varia who stepped forward, carrying what looked like a large crystal sphere. Through the communication crystal, the elder explained, this sphere contained the collected knowledge and history of the Varia, their science, their art, their understanding of the planet. It was a gift for the humans, a gesture of trust and an offering of friendships, and was stunned by the gesture. The sphere represented centuries of Varia culture and knowledge freely given. She accepted it with reverence, making the gesture of gratitude Dawn had taught her. That night, Sam stayed in the settlement, learning more about Varia life. Dawn showed her how they cultivated certain plants for food and medicine, how they harvested the crystals, and how they communicated across vast distances using larger crystal formations. Dawn seemed particularly interested in human emotion. She asked many questions through the crystal communication about how humans expressed feelings about love, family, and friendship. Concepts that seemed both familiar and different in Varia cultures. Sam explained as best she could, showing Dawn memories of human celebrations, weddings, birthdays, festivals. Dawn seemed fascinated by the variety and intensity of human emotional expression. Dawn showed Sam the Varia way of sharing feelings, a more direct experience through the crystals, where emotions flowed between individuals, creating a kind of harmony. As the night deepened, Sam realized she was experiencing something few humans ever had: true communication with an alien mind, not just exchanging words but sharing experiences directly. Dawn led Sam to a high ridge above the settlement where they could see the stars, the two moons of the planet casting silver light across the landscape. Through the crystal, Dawn showed Sam the Varia understanding of the stars. They had mapped the sky for generations, without technology, using only their eyes and their memory crystals. They knew the system had 7 planets, and had observed the movements of each. Sam was amazed by the accuracy of their knowledge without telescopes or computers. They had created star charts as precise as anything humans had developed with advanced technology. Dawn seemed pleased by Sam's admiration. She showed Sam something else through the crystal. A legend among the Varia that someday visitors from the stars would come not as conquerors, but as friends to share knowledge and together protect the planet. They called mothers and wondered if humans could live up to that legend. So far, the colony had been focused on expansion and resource extraction, not harmony or protection. As Dawn and Sam sat beneath the stars, Sam made a decision. She would try to bridge the gap between humans and Varia, no matter the personal cost. The next morning, Sam prepared to return to the colony. Carrying the knowledge sphere the Elder had given her, Dawn would accompany her part of the way, but could not approach the colony too closely without risk of being seen by patrols. Before they left, the Elder performed a ceremony, placing her hands on Sam's head and sharing a final message through the crystal. A vision of Sam standing before the colony leaders, speaking truth about the Varia. Sam understood this was both a blessing and a request. The Elder believed Sam could change the relationship between their peoples. The journey back was made in silence, both Sam and Dawn aware of the importance of what would happen next. As they approached the edge of colony territory, Dawn stopped. She made the greeting gesture, then added something new, touching her hand to Sam's heart. Then to her own, Sam felt tears in her eyes. Understanding the gesture meant connection beyond words. Dawn disappeared into the tall grass, and Sam continued alone toward the colony. Her mind made up, she would go directly to Director Mason and tell her everything about the Varia, about the crystal communication, about the knowledge sphere. Sam knew she would face consequences for breaking protocol, but the potential for peaceful contact was worth the risk. As she approached the colony perimeter, Sam noticed unusual activity. Security officers were gathered at the gate. Their weapons-drawn drones circled overhead. Sam hesitated, confused by the show of force. Then she saw Kate running toward her. Sam, thank God, Kate gasped. You're alive. We thought the worst when you disappeared. What is going on? Sam asked, gesturing at the security team. Kate looked grim. Mason ordered a security alert when your quarters were found empty. She thinks you were abducted by the Variano. That is not what happened. Sam protested. I went voluntarily. I have something to show them, something important. Kate looked at the sphere Sam carried. What is that? It's a gift, Sam explained, from the Varia. It contains their knowledge, their history, their desire for peaceful contact. Kate looked skeptical. The security team is under orders to shoot any Varia on sight. Mason is convinced they represent a threat. Sam's heart sank. How quickly fear had taken hold. She had to act fast. Where is Mason? Sam asked. Command Center planning a response team. Kate said she plans to send armed scouts to find the Varia settlement. Sam handed the sphere to Kate. Take this somewhere safe. Don't let anyone take it from you. I need to talk to Mason. Now Kate looked uncertain but nodded. Good luck, she whispered. Sam marched directly to the command center, ignoring the stares of colony members as she passed. She knew she looked disheveled after her night with the Varia, but that didn't matter now. When Sam entered the command center, all conversation stopped. Director Mason turned to her, shock, then relief crossing her stern features. Sir Howard Mason said, We were about to send a rescue team. Where have you been? With the Varia, Sam said clearly. And they are not a threat. They want peaceful contact. Mason frowned. You directly violated protocol. Sam agreed, because the protocol is wrong. In this case, the Varia are an advanced, peaceful species. With much to teach us, they gave me a knowledge sphere as a gift, a sign of their desire for friendship. Mason looked skeptical. They could have manipulated you, brainwashed you. We know nothing about their capabilities. Sam took a deep breath and removed the communication crystal from her pocket. I know them, Director. I have communicated with them. Let me show you. Mason looked at the crystal suspiciously. What is that? A communication device, Sam explained. It allows direct sharing of thoughts and experiences. It's how the Varia communicate among themselves and how they shared their knowledge with me. Mason hesitated. Please, Sam urged. Just touch it. Let me show you the truth about the Varia. The room was silent. All eyes on Mason as she considered. Finally, Mason extended her hand. All right, Dr. Howard, show me. Some placed the crystal between their hands and focused on sharing everything. Dawn and the elder had shown her the peaceful Varia settlement, their harmony with the planet, their ancient history on this world, their hope for cooperation with humans. When the connection ended, Mason stepped back, her expression unreadable. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Mason turned to the security team. Stand down. She ordered all patrols maintain perimeter defense. Only no aggressive action toward the Varia is authorized. She turned back to Sam. We need to discuss this further, Dr. Howard, but I believe you may be right. This requires a more careful approach, and felt relief wash over her. It was a start. A small step toward the vision the elder had shared. Mason gestured to the door. Let's talk privately. There is much you need to tell me, and we need to establish proper first contact protocols, ones based on understanding, not fear. Sam nodded, the weight of responsibility heavy on her shoulders, but her heart lighter, knowing she had opened the door to possibility. As she followed Mason from the command center, Sam thought of Dawn and the Varia waiting in their hidden valley. She thought of the gesture Dawn had made, touching her heart, and she knew whatever challenges lay ahead, the connection between their peoples had already begun. The weeks following Sam's revelation about the Varia were filled with careful planning and preparation. Director Mason had assembled a first contact team with Sam as the lead liaison. 5 other scientists were selected, each with specialties that might prove useful in understanding the Varia culture. Kate was among them, her expertise in alien biology. Making her an obvious choice, Sam spent hours briefing the team, showing them how to use the communication crystals, teaching them the Varia greeting gesture, explaining what she had learned about their culture. Not everyone in the colony supported the initiative. Some, like Head of Security Officer Greg, believed contact with any alien species posed unnecessary risks. Why are we rushing into this? Greg demanded during one planning meeting. We should study them from a distance. First, assess any potential threats, and tried to be patient. The Varia have been peaceful neighbors for 5 years. She explained they could have attacked the colony at any time if that was their intention. Instead, they reached out in friendship. Greg remained skeptical. Aliens are unpredictable. He insisted we know nothing about how they think. Sam held up the communication crystal. That is exactly what this allows us to know, she said. They have shared their thoughts, their history, their hopes with me. They are different from us, but not in ways we should fear. Mason ended the debate, her decision final. The first contact mission would proceed as planned with appropriate security measures, but with friendship as the goal. The day before the official expedition was to depart, Sam received permission to go ahead alone to prepare the Varia for the human delegation. Dawn was waiting at the usual meeting place when Sam arrived through the crystal. Sam explained everything: the official contact team, the colony's decision to pursue peaceful relations, the protocols that would be followed. Dawn seemed pleased but not surprised through the crystal. She showed Sam that the Varia had been preparing as well, expanding their settlement, clearing space for human visitors, creating displays of their culture and technology to share. The elder had spread word to other Varia settlements scattered across the plains. Many were traveling to witness the historic meeting. When Sam returned to the colony, the atmosphere was tense with anticipation. The team made final preparations, checking equipment, rehearsing greetings, reviewing diplomatic protocols. At dawn the next day, they set out a group of 5 scientists, including Sam and Kate. 3 security officers led by Greg, though under strict orders to keep weapons holstered, and Director Mason herself, who had decided to oversee this historic moment personally. Samo led the way, following the path she now knew well, the others struggling with the difficult terrain. Just as she had on her first journey, as they approached the ridge overlooking the Varia settlement, Sam paused, letting the others catch up. Over this ridge, she said, is something few humans have ever seen. A peaceful, advanced alien civilization that wants to be our friends, not our enemies. I ask you to approach with open minds and open hearts. Mason nodded solemnly. Lead on, Dr. Howard. Sam led them to the ridge and heard the gasps as her colleagues saw the Varia settlement for the first time. The valley below was transformed. Hundreds of Varia had gathered from distant settlements. The dome structures had been decorated with flowing fabrics and crystal arrangements that caught the morning light, sending rainbows dancing across the ground. The center of the clearing stood the Elder, flanked by Dawn and other Varia leaders, all wearing ceremonial garments woven with crystal shards that glowed with inner light. It was a breathtaking sight. Sam led the human delegation down into the valley, the Varia parting to create a path, their large black eyes watching with curiosity, but without fear. When they reached the center, Sam made the greeting gesture. The Elder responded in kind, then extended the gesture to include all the humans. Mason stepped forward and, with Sam's coaching, repeated the gesture. The Elder then presented Mason with a crystal larger than any Sam had seen before through Sam's smaller crystal. The Elder explained this was the heart crystal of their settlement, a sacred object never before shared with outsiders. Mason accepted it with appropriate reverence, then presented the Elders with the human gifts carefully selected, items representing Earth and human culture, art, music, scientific knowledge, and seeds from Earth plants. The formal exchange complete, the two groups began to interact more freely. The scientists using the communication crystals Sam had provided to speak with different Varia, learning about their medicine, their agriculture, their art even. Greg seemed impressed watching as Varia children played with small crystal toys that hovered and spun in the air without obvious technology. Kate was in her element, examining the Varia biology with their permission, of course marveling at their unique physiology. We could learn so much from each other, she told Sam. Their understanding of the local ecosystem alone is worth years of research. Sam smiled, watching the scene unfold just as the Elder had shown her in the vision. Dawn approached, standing beside Sam as they observed the historic meeting. Through the crystal, Dawn shared her feelings. Pride, joy, hope for the future. Sam responded with her own emotions, relief that the meeting was going well, gratitude for Dawn's trust, determination to make the Elder's vision a reality. As the day progressed, the Varia shared their food and drink with the humans, meals prepared from local plants and fruits, the scientists sampling cautiously, finding the flavors strange but not unpleasant. Mason and the Elder spent hours in crystal communication, discussing how their peoples might cooperate. Mason particularly interested in the Varia's sustainable way of life, their harmony with the planet. By evening, the atmosphere was celebratory. The Varia performed a crystal song, creating harmonies by touching different-sized crystals, producing tones that seemed to resonate with emotion, even without the crystal communication. In response, Kate surprisingly revealed a hidden talent, singing an old Earth song, her clear voice rising in the alien night. The Varia, listening in rapt attention, and watched it all with a full heart, seeing the beginnings of friendship between the two species as the celebration continued. Mason pulled Sam aside. "You were right about them, Dr. Howard," she said. "They have much to teach us about living in harmony with this world." Some nodded. Their knowledge of the local environment alone could save us years of trial and error. Mason looked thoughtful. "The Colony Council will want regular contact, limited exchanges of knowledge and technology to start." "That seems wise," Sam agreed. "Let trust build slowly." "And you," Mason continued, "will be our permanent liaison with the Varia. If you accept the positions," and felt a surge of emotion. This was everything she had hoped for, a chance to continue learning from the Varia, to help build a lasting peace between their people. "I accept," she said, without hesitation. Mason nodded. "Good, now let's rejoin the celebration. I believe your friend Dawn is looking for you." Sam turned to see Dawn approaching, carrying something wrapped in woven fabric through the crystal. Dawn explained. This was a gift for Sam personally, not from the Varia as a whole, but from Dawn herself. Sam unwrapped the fabric, finding a small, intricate crystal formation, unlike any she had seen before through the crystal. Dawn explained it was a friendship crystal created by joining two crystals that had grown separately, bringing them into harmony, just as their two species might one day be. Sam was deeply touched by the personal gift. She reached into her pack and pulled out a small object she had brought just in case, a simple wooden carving of two hands clasped together, a human art piece she had treasured. Dawn accepted the gift with obvious emotion, understanding its meaning without needing the crystal translation. As the night deepened, the human delegation prepared to return to the colony, all except Sam, who had permission to remain another day to finalize arrangements for ongoing contact. The Elder led Mason and the others back toward the colony path. Dawn and Sam watching them go. When they had disappeared from sight, Dawn turned to Sam and made a new gesture, touching her forehead, then her heart, then reaching toward the stars, through the crystal. Sam understood this was an ancient Varia blessing, a wish for wisdom, compassion, and endless possibility, and repeated the gesture, feeling its significance in her heart together. They walked back to the settlement where the celebration continued, the Varia, welcoming Sam not as an outsider now, but as a friend. That night Sam sat with Dawn beneath the stars. The two, so different in form but increasingly similar in understanding. Through the crystal they shared hopes for the future, a vision of humans and Varia learning from each other, growing together, protecting the planet. They now shared some new challenges lay ahead. Not everyone in the colony would embrace this new friendship. Some would fear what they did not understand. Some would seek advantage rather than harmony. But looking at Dawn, her alien features now familiar, almost beautiful in their difference, Sam felt certain they would find a way forward together. As the twin moons rose higher, Sam thought about the incredible journey that had begun with such a simple act, sharing food with a hungry stranger. Sometimes the greatest connections start with the smallest kindnesses, Sam thought, and sometimes those connections can change worlds. 1 year had passed since the first official contact between humans and Varia, the relationship between the two species growing stronger with each passing months. Sam now lived in a dwelling at the edge of the colony designed with input from both human architects and Varia weavers, a blend of technologies and aesthetics that symbolized her role as bridge between the two worlds. Her position as liaison kept her busy, traveling frequently between the colony and the main Varia settlement, which had become a hub for cultural and scientific exchange. Dawn had become an official representative for the Varia, spending equal time in the human colony, learning their ways, just as Sam learned the ways of the Varia on this particular morning. Sam was preparing for an important ceremony, the official opening of the Harmony Center, a joint facility built halfway between the colony and the Varia settlement, where members of both species could meet, work, and learn together. Sam checked her appearance. In the mirror, she wore a special garment for the occasion, a colony uniform modified with Varia crystal, weaving along the collar and sleeves, a design Dawn had created specifically for her. The communication crystal Dawn had first given her now hung on a chain around her neck, a permanent connection to Varia thoughts and perspectives. Sam heard a knock at her door and opened it to find Kate waiting, ready for the big day. Kate asked, her eyes bright with excitement. "As ready as I can be?" Sam replied. Kate had flourished during the past year, her research on Varia biology leading to breakthroughs in understanding both Varia and human health. She had developed a treatment for a local disease using Varia crystal technology combined with human medicine, saving lives in both communities. "You should be proud," Sam, Kate said as they walked toward the waiting transport. "This center would never have happened without you." Sam shook her head. "It was everyone's work, not just mine." "True," Kate agreed, "but you took the first step when you shared your food with Dawn that day." Sam smiled at the memory. It seemed so long ago. Now that impulsive decision to help a hungry stranger had set in motion events beyond anything she could have imagined. The transport took them across the plains toward the new facility, other members of the colony council joining them along the way. Director Mason, now Governor Mason, since the colony had been granted increased autonomy, sat beside Sam, nervous. Mason asked with a small smile. "A little," Sam admitted. "It's a big moment for both our people." Mason nodded. "The Varia have taught us so much about living on this world. Their crystal technology alone has revolutionized our communication and energy systems. And we've taught them things too," Sam added. "Our medicine, our art, our different perspective on the universe." The transport crested a hill, and the Harmony Center came into view, a magnificent structure that blended human architecture with Varia crystal technology. The main building shaped like a spiral rising from the ground, its walls embedded with crystals that captured and amplified sunlight. The surrounding gardens featuring plants from both Earth and the local ecosystem growing together and carefully designed. Harmony surrounding the center were hundreds of people, humans and Varia, mingling together, waiting for the ceremony to begin. The transport stopped and Sam stepped out, immediately spotting Dawn in the crowd, the Varia woman now familiar and dear to her, wearing ceremonial garments that identified her as a high representative of her people. Dawn approached and made the greeting gesture, which Sam returned through their crystals. They shared a moment of pride and accomplishment, both remembering how far they had come from that first cautious meeting. Governor Mason and the Varia Elder, now known to the humans as Elder Shara, approached the center together, the crowd falling silent. "Welcome," Mason began, her voice carrying across the gathered crowd, "to the opening of the Harmony Center, a place where our two peoples can come together in peace, friendship, and mutual respect." Elder Shara stepped forward, her thoughts translated through crystals worn by all the humans present. "And this day, we celebrate not just a building but a new beginning." She communicated, her hands moving in the graceful gestures that accompanied Varia Crystal's speech. Two peoples, different in form but alike in spirit, learning from each other, growing together. Mason and Elder Shara turned to the entrance where a ceremonial ribbon had been placed, made of woven colony fabric, interspersed with Varia Crystal strands. Dawn and Sam were called forward to cut the ribbon together, symbolizing their role in bringing the two peoples together. As they approached, Sam felt a wave of emotion, remembering that hungry alien woman at the edge of the colony, the fear and uncertainty of their first meetings, the gradual building of trust and understanding. Dawn placed her hand over her heart, then extended it toward Sam, their private gesture of connections, and returned it then. Together they cut the ribbon, the crowd erupting in cheers and the Varia equivalent a harmonious humming that vibrated through the air. The ceremony continued with speeches and presentations, exchanges of gifts and demonstrations of technologies developed through cooperation. Sam watched it all with pride, but her greatest joy came later as she walked through the new facility with Dawn. The Harmony Center included research laboratories where scientists from both species would work together, medical facilities that combined the best of both healing traditions, classrooms where children would learn the languages and customs of both peoples, and a grand central hall where art, music, and stories would be shared. In one wing, Sam paused before a display case. Inside was the simple cloth on which she had first placed food for Dawn, preserved as a historical artifact. Beside it, the story of their meeting, written in both human language and Varia Crystal code. Dawn stood beside her, looking at the display through the crystal. Dawn shared her memory of that day, how desperate she had been, how afraid yet hopeful, how Sam's simple act of kindness had given her the courage to reach out to make that first crucial connection. Sam shared her own memory, her fear, her hesitation, her ultimate decision to help. Despite the rules, the moment when Dawn had first offered the crystal that would change both their lives. Looking at each other, Sam and Dawn shared something deeper than words could express, a bond formed across the gulf of different biology, different evolution, different worlds, a friendship that had opened the door to understanding between their peoples. As they continued their tour, they passed a window overlooking the plains beyond. Sam could see other buildings under construction in the distance, the beginnings of a new kind of settlement, neither fully human nor fully Varia, but something new, something shared. Dawn pointed to the horizon where a group of human and Varia children played together in the tall grass, learning each other's games, creating new ones together. The sight filled Sam with hope for the future. That evening, a celebration was held in the central hall of the Harmony Center. Food and drink from both cultures, shared music and art, performed technology and knowledge exchanged freely. Sam found a quiet moment to step outside, looking up at the stars with Dawn beside her. "So much has changed in just 1 year," Sam said. Through the crystal, Dawn agreed, sharing images of the progress made, the lives improved, the understanding gained. And yet Sam continued, "So much remains to be discovered." Dawn showed her a vision of the future, humans and Varia exploring the planet together, mapping its wonders, protecting its treasures, using their combined knowledge to live in true harmony with their shared worlds. Sam smiled at the vision. It was beautiful and within reach as they stood beneath the alien stars. Sam reflected on the power of simple human kindness, how one small act could ripple outward, touching lives, changing futures, opening doorways between worlds. Dawn gently touched Sam's shoulder, pointing to where a shooting star blazed across the night sky through the crystal. She shared a Varia belief that such stars carried wishes to the universe, and closed her eyes and made a wish, not for herself, but for the future of this world, and the two peoples now joined in its care. When she opened her eyes, Dawn was watching her with those large black eyes that once seemed so alien, Now filled with an expression Sam recognized friendship. They stayed there a long time beneath the stars. A human woman, and an alien woman so different and yet connected by something universal. The desire to understand, to learn, to grow together, in the Harmony Center behind them. The celebration continued the beginning of a new chapter in the story of two species finding their way together on a world that belonged to them both. Some thought of all the colonies across the stars, all the encounters between humans and other intelligent beings. How many had begun with fear and ended in conflict. But here, on this distant world, they had found another way because one human had chosen kindness over protocol, friendship over fear. Dawn made the blessing gesture, touching her forehead, her heart, then reaching toward the stars. Sam repeated it, feeling its meaning deep in her soul. Together they turned and walked back to join the celebration. Two individuals who had changed the course of history with the simplest of human gestures, sharing food with a hungry stranger.